Welcome to the U-Review. In this video, we're going to be taking a look at the Cuddeback PW-3600 Solar Panel. Now I'm going to cover a few different things in this video. One, take a look at what's inside the box, so what comes with the 3600 panel out of the package. Second thing we'll look at is some of the features and changes from previous versions of the 3600 panel, as well as talk about the different locations that it really works well in and the locations that it maybe doesn't work so well in, that you might want to consider a different option to power your cameras, as well as my favorite accessories for the 3600 panel to make your setups really dialed in and working well for you. So let's take a look at what is inside the box. So here's what comes with the PW-3600 solar panel. We've got the PW-3600 panel itself. We've got a chew-proof armored power cord, standard Genius mount, and an HD camera strap, as well as some instructions here. So everything you need to go deploy this setup in the woods on your camera in the box right here. Now let's talk about maybe some of the features and a little bit more details about this panel. It does have its own internal battery. It's a rechargeable battery inside of the panel itself, so you don't really need batteries in your camera if you don't want them. You can certainly put D batteries inside your camera to act as a backup. Granted, if this thing goes down, something happens, it quits working, you'll at least have some backup power until you can get back out there and correct whatever issue it is. But in most of my camera setups, I'm purely running off the 3600 panel, and I don't have batteries in the camera at all. So it's really just dependent on your situation of what you want to run there. Get back to the panel itself. You got your power port. You got a battery status indicator light here underneath this little latch. You can click the battery status button. This is a brand new panel out of the package. It shows low and good on your lights, but I do recommend setting it in the sun for a day or two before you hook it up to your cameras to make sure that it is fully charged up and ready to go for deployment. Now, I mentioned that inside the panel, it's got its own internal battery, and I want to take a look at that real quick. I have another panel here that I have removed the screws from. So you got these screws on the back plate. I've taken those all out, and you can take this cover off, and there you exposed your battery. So has one battery, plugs right into it. If these batteries are replaceable, so if you ever have a battery that goes bad, we do have replacement batteries on our website, uoutdoorsone.com. So you can easily replace the battery and not have to replace the entire solar panel. Now, for users who've bought the 3600 panel in years past, I did want to touch on a little bit of changes from this current solar panel to what the past models looked like and ones you might have, just so you are aware of what's included and what's maybe not from the previous offerings. So newest version, I covered that pretty in depth already. We've got a single battery slot inside of it. This is the older version. We've got the brown port and the yellow port for power ports on here. Brown goes to your camera. The yellow was for the dual power bank battery pack and that kind of whole setup. They've discontinued that dual power bank battery pack, so there wasn't a need for the yellow port anymore. So they eliminated that with the new one. And the old one also it came with a battery just like the new one does, but it had an extra slot for a second battery. And that's the other thing they kind of eliminated. They eliminated that, added your indicator light, that the old one did not have that status indicator. So those are the main differences within the panel. Size-wise, everything else exactly the same. The cord, previously they came with a non-armored cord. They've now upgraded to the armored cord, which is highly recommended. I usually recommend it for all external power options. So it now comes with it, which is a good thing. One thing they took away from what was offered previously was on the mount side of things. Previously it came with a tilt mount, which you can still get. It's the KA-001 model, tilt mount 2-pack. You can still get those separately, but with the 3600 panel they they went to a more standard mount and basically kind of swapped it, right? Maybe not as good of a mount, but they put a better cord in. So they just swapped the mount and the cord. Do you need the tilt mount? I don't know. I like it, but I would rather have the armored cord. So I think it was a good trade-off for your stock offering with the 3600 panel. So that's basically the differences. If you've never bought one before, this doesn't matter too much to you. But if you have in the past, I just wanted to touch on those couple things so that you know what the differences are going to be when you get this panel. So let's talk about uses. What's this great for? Maybe what it's not so great for. The PW-3600 solar panel is probably the power option I use the most in my systems personally. And the reason for that is I have a ton of cameras on field edges, in fields, food plots, grassy creek bottoms, stuff like that, where sunlight is really no problem. I've got plenty of sunlight. And so if you have locations like that, where you're gonna get several hours of sun, the 3600 panel is my top pick for that. It's just a really good balance between cost and long-term power. I've had some of these panels going for multiple years already without touching them from a battery perspective. I haven't had to do anything with them. They just keep ticking. So if you've got sunlight, several hours of it, I love the 3600 panel for my cameras. Now I do have a number of cameras I've tried in different locations in the timber, and I have a couple that have done really well. But I've also had a couple that it just did not have enough sun to keep the cameras powered long term. And so I'd have to go in there and change batteries or just swap out to a battery pack or to a sun and shade panel in those locations. So although sometimes you can get them to work in there and they have enough to keep everything going, when we talk about reliability and I can just say, yes, this thing is going to work for you, put these in the sun. When you get into timber situations where it's kind of shaded and you're not sure, I would opt for the DX6 battery pack, which is like a 6D battery pack extension to your camera, or to the larger sun and shade solar panel, because the sun and shade is 2x the size with 2 times the battery capacity as the 3600, and so it can weather lower sunlight locations like in the timber much more reliably than the 3600 can. But I'm telling you, if you got sunlight, this thing is my absolute favorite. If it's questionable, I'd maybe look at the sun and shade or the DX6 battery pack. So let's talk about some helpful accessories that I really like with the 3600 panel. And the first one I'm going to touch on here is what used to come with the PW-3600 in the box as a mount, and that is the tilt mount. Now this is a 2-pack, so you can buy them separately in a 2-pack. These just worked really, really well with the 3600 panels. It's just, if you're going to mount these things on trees, wooden fence posts, things like that, and you want to angle it up towards the sun, this is a very economical and simple option. I highly recommend these for tilting it up towards the sun. And then we've got another option here as far as a mount. It's similar to a tilt mount, but it's got a lot more adjustment. The Genius PTL mount, model 3488. You can turn it, tilt it, pan it. I mean, you can position wherever you need to. You can mount these on trees. You can mount them on fence posts, like T-post. You can put them on T-posts and position your solar panel exactly where you need. So that's another good option. Might be a little overkill, but it's a really nice mount. And then we've got probably my favorite, like absolute favorite to use the 3600 panel on, and that is the post mount. The 3556, I believe, post mount, the Cuddeback post mount. And this thing is awesome. It's one of my favorite, especially in summertime setups. I'll mount a camera on one side, 3600 panel on the other, and basically this mount is an adjustable post with a prong, and you can stick it in the ground and move it. But it's got basically 2 tilt mounts on the top. So one, they're opposing each other. So you put the camera on one, you can put the 3600 on the other. You can tilt the panel up, get the most sunlight, and then you can angle the camera and position it so you have the perfect aim out in the woods, or out in the field I should say, because I really use these in the field a lot. In the summertime, I've got cameras around alfalfa, on the edge of cornfields, soybean fields, and I'm just kind of moving things around in the velvet, and then as the crops change, things change, I'll start shifting them to different locations, but it makes it really nice. You can plug a camera, solar panel, shoe-proof cords on there. It is just almost a bulletproof setup. It's one of my favorite. So if you got situations like that, I highly recommend the post mount for the 3600 panel and your cameras. It's a really slick setup. Well, I hope this review was helpful. If you've ever got questions on anything Cuddeback related, feel free to reach out to me. I'm more than happy to help. If you're looking to pick up a PW-3600 panel, mounts, cameras, what have you, be sure to check out our website, yououtdoorsone.com. And thanks for watching. God bless and good luck this season.